Hello you guys, Miss Steele here. I'm here at the bottom and then I am recording what I'm doing with my hands. So this week we have been talking about scale and we've also been talking about space. So scale is how big or how little something is, and then space is how close something is to us or how far away something is. So we're going to be using both of those to make a snowman drawing today. And we're going to make our snowmans look like they're almost like leaning back. So what you're going to need is paper, pencil eraser, definitely our art tool basics right here, and then you want something to color in with. I have crowns and markers today, but you guys can use whatever you have to color in with. Move this back. So what we're going to do to draw our snowman, and to make him look like he's almost leaning back or they're leaning back, we're going to start with a curved line in the corner of our paper. So you want to start with a curved line, kind of like this, almost like a half circle, if you can see it right here in the corner of the paper. So we have one, and now we need two more for our snowman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another curved line on top of this, but I'm going to make it smaller than this one because I want it to get smaller so it looks like he's leaning back and farther away from us. So what I would do next is I would add my next curved line on top of this one, but a little bit smaller this time, like that. So now we have 1, 2, and now we're going to add our last, and it's going to be another curved line, but it's going to be even smaller than this one. Like that. I might make this one a little bit smaller because I want to be able to fit a hat on my snowman. So I'm going to go back and make this a little bit smaller because I want some space to add a hat on my snowman. And then I will erase these lines I don't need up here. And that's why we draw light until it's right, so we can go back and erase things if we need to change them. So now we have the first part of our snowman drawn. What we're going to do now is we're going to add buttons, but just like how each of these got smaller, my 3 buttons are going to get smaller each time. So I'm going to draw one that's kind of big, one that's like medium size, and then one that's a little smaller. And that's what I'm going to do for my buttons. Maybe I'll add an outside line to my buttons. So we have our 3 buttons, and we made them smaller each time. So it looks like it's going back farther in space. I'm going to add some little holes in for my buttons. What I could do now is I could add a scarf onto my snowman if I wanted to. Just drawing a line like that. And then we can draw the end of our scarf right here. And for that, I just kind of draw a boxy line. Almost like the shape of a rectangle. I'm sorry if you can hear my cats running around. And then because we talked about pattern last time we were in art, I'm going to add a pattern on my scarf. And you guys can add whatever kind of pattern you want on your scarf. Now what we're going to add is we are going to add our arms before we start with our face. So you want to add just 2 stick arms to your snowman. For my stick arms, I just do kind of big long rectangles. And then I'll do maybe 3 fingers for him. Just using that rectangle shape. I'm going to add it to the other side so he can have 2 arms. And again, kind of just making long straight lines, using a lot of rectangle shapes. So now what we want to do is we want to add our face onto our snowman. And because our snowman's almost looking down on us, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys make your carrot nose facing upwards. So if you watch, I'm doing my carrot nose. And I'm doing it real long, and I'm doing it facing upwards, like that. And then you can add in your lines for your carrot to give it some texture. And now we want to add his eyes, and I'm going to add one eye on either side of my carrot like that. And now I'm going to add another eye like that. And now I'm going to add the smile onto my snowman. And for that, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to add a few circles close together. Again, I don't like these circles over here, so I can erase them. And I want to do them kind of curved up a little bit more so it looks like he's smiling like that. So now we have most of our snowman done. What you guys could do now is you could add a hat onto your snowman if you wanted to. Here's a bunch of different ones that I was thinking about, like the boxy one, or just like a snow cap, or more of a holiday hat, or even some like earmuffs. And I think that's what I'm going to add to mine. I think I'm going to add these earmuffs. And then you would add on whatever hat you want to add on. I think, like I said earlier, I'm going to do these kind of big, bumpy line to make it almost look like it's fluffy. And I'm going to add earmuffs. And then I need to draw the line for the earmuffs to hold them together. All right, so now we have our snowman all drawn, and we did the 3 circles that got smaller each time. And then we did the 3 buttons that got smaller each time as well, because whenever we're talking about scale, we're looking at things that are bigger or things that are smaller. So we know that with space, things that are farther away get smaller. So that should show it in the scale, it should get smaller. What you could do now is you could add snowflakes around if you wanted to. I'll show you a few different ways I like to draw snowflakes. Usually I start with some lines. I start with some straight lines, and I almost make, it looks like a plus sign. And then I'll add 1 more, and then 2 more. So just a bunch of straight lines. And then on the end of my lines, I can do whatever I want for my snowflake. Maybe I'm going to add little circles. And then I could even go back and add circles inside my line if I wanted to. You can kind of play around with how you draw them. If I was to draw another one, maybe we'll do one right here. And I'm going to draw 2 straight lines. And then I'm going to draw a smaller line on the inside like this. And maybe on the end, I'm going to draw a little V. And that's going to be this snowflake. So how you draw your snowflakes is kind of up to you. There's another one. Maybe we'll add 1 more over here, and I'll show you how I draw my snowflakes. And maybe for this one, instead of doing the V, I'll just do straight lines like that at the end. Maybe I'll add some in the middle. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to outline this, and then I'm going to get it colored in. But whenever I color it in, I'm going to show you guys how I like to kind of add some shading around my snowman to make it look like it's more like 3D almost. So I am going to get this outlined, and then I will be back and we can color it. Alright, so I got it all outlined, and then I colored in my background blue, and my buttons, and of course my hat, and my scarf, and my nose. So now what I want to do is I'm going to add some color to my snowman, but I kind of want to make it look 3D. So what I'm going to use is I have some blue crowns and a gray crown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color in super lightly right around the edge of my snowman. And I'm not going to color them all in. I'm just going to color around the edge. Kind of like that. It's really light right now, but we're going to add some blue into it. And it's going to give it a more kind of 3D look to it. It's going to make it look like it's more round. kind of like that. And then I'm going to press a little bit lighter as I go on the inside. And that's going to make my snowman look like he has more of a round body. And so I'm going to do it over here now. And what I'm doing is I chose one side, and I'm coloring in first lightly with my gray. Like that. And then I'm going to go in with my blues and add in some blue, pressing lightly. And then I'm going to go in with this little bit of a warmer blue. Kind of like that. And that's going to make my snowman look more like he's like leaning towards us because we're going to add in some shadows using it. And so now I'm going to add it to the face. And again, I'm just pressing lightly and going around the edge with my crown. It looks very light on the camera. And then I'm going to go in with some of my blue and layer on some blue, pressing lightly. And then I'm going to use my other blue just so I can give it even more. I'm going to hold it up a little bit closer so you guys can see. And that's it. That is my snowman using scale as it got smaller and using space because he's leaning back. And that is it. I'm excited to see how your guys' works come out. I will see you guys all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, your evening, your afternoon, whenever you're watching this.